Business AM.
Radio Special Cybersecurity.
Welkom hier bij Business AM. Ik ben Sophie Sonk. Deze radiospecial staat in het teken van cybersecurity. De vele facetten ervan, de innovaties, de gevaren van nieuwe technologieën, de ethische kwesties. Ik heb een gesprek over quantum computing met Ramsés Gallego, International Chief Technology Officer bij OpenText Cybersecurity. Ik praat met hem in het Engels. Welcome, Mr. Gallego.
Thank you for having me, Sophie. It's truly a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for having me.
Let's start, Mr. Gallego. What is quantum computing? Is it just smarter, faster computing than anything before? And how smart or how fast is it?
Well, thanks for the question. Certainly, quantum computing is that discipline of technology that is being built following the laws of quantum mechanics and quantum physics. Your question mentioned it very well. I mean, it's faster, yes. Is more powerful, yes. Is more capable, yes. But why? Because there are laws in quantum mechanics and quantum physics that are different from the way that we understand the world. So that brings not just a new type of computer, but I would say a new sport in technology. It's a new game. It's a new universe on how things will be solved and how secrets will be hopefully maintained or broken, but yes.
And what are the main benefits of quantum computing for society, for the Western world, and for companies in particular?
Well, actually, the benefits are being more powerful, being more capable, being faster is the opportunity, the chance of having answers to questions that, I mean, trust me, maybe we have not even figured out yet. I mean, the questions is the unique opportunity of solving problems and challenges in a whole different way. So again, faster, more capable, deeper understanding of healthcare issues, of technology issues, of business matters. So a unique opportunity of approaching problems, society problems at large, in a different way. Absolutely, Sophie. Yeah.
You say it is not a digital information, but rather a radical innovation. Radical as in disruptive?
Well, radical is indifferent. And actually, your question was digital information. It's not digital transformation. So these days, you go into conferences and everybody talks about disruption, digital transformation. And while that's true, because the society is so digital and so technological these days, I think, and quantum computing sits at the core of this, we have to approach it in a radical different way. It's not just about doing different things, but doing them differently, in a different way. And certainly quantum computing approaches all that in a wholly different way. This is why my quote on radical innovation is the name of the game. So in being innovative is good, but in a radical, different way, absolutely, 100%.
And how radical or should quantum computing innovate?
Well, in a whole different way, because again, following the laws of quantum mechanics and quantum physics, the way, even from an architectural perspective, I don't want to be very technical in this interview, but the way we construct, the computers from the inside, the way they operate, because they operate with light, yes, with photons of light, with beams of light, that, by the way, you have to freeze. I mean, you have to freeze, you need to freeze. Imagine how difficult that is. A photon of light in order to be able to operate with it. So I'm not talking, with all due respect, and it has been my career path for more than 2 decades, hard drives and keyboards and mouses, yes to all of that, and cables and Wi-Fi's, yes to all of that. But quantum computing deals with light and temperature, super cool. So it operates in a different way. This is why my approach on radical innovation, quantum computing, is absolutely at the heart of it all. Absolutely.
In one of your keynotes, I heard you mention the 3 V's of change: velocity, variety, and volume. But you added a 4th one: value.
That is correct.
Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. This society is so fast, so different, so diverse. With the 3 V's of change are the velocity, variety, and the volume of change. Too much information, too fast, too different, and too diverse, right? But especially with quantum computing and especially with cybersecurity at large, not only the 3Ds are important, but the 4V of the value of being brave, the value of being bold enough, in order to embrace change, in order to ask the right questions to the right people at the right time. And trust me, Sophie, that quantum computing is, again, you need to be bold in order to make the right investments from a public administration perspective, from a private sector perspective. I mean, you have to be brave and to be bold. This is why my 4V is the value of embracing, adapting, and adopting change.
You think we're not flexible enough?
Well, I mean, we are flexible because, I mean, look at the news these days with all of the things on AI and machine learning. So yes, society is embracing change. The question is, who is faster? If innovation is faster than our capability as humans, as societies, as companies and organizations of the world to embrace all that change. So flexible, yes, we are. I shouldn't answer a no to the question, but it's not about flexibility, about blending. It's about velocity as well. So we are flexible, yes, but are we flexible and fast in order to embrace all of those changes, blockchain and ethical changes and machine learning and AI and all those things, right? So flexible we are. Question is if we are fast enough on that flexibility, Sophie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You also mentioned re-evolution, not revolution, but re-evolution. Yes. What do you mean by that?
Well, in a way, Sophie, I'm playing with words. So it's a re-evolution, but it's a word that I have coined sort of with two meanings. So quantum computing and cybersecurity at large these days evolves from the things that we have been doing for decades. So it evolves on identity management, on data classification, it evolves on encryption, so it evolves on things that we still have to take care of, data, applications, identities, access control. But it revolutionizes, this is why I'm inventing this re-evolution, it revolutionizes the speed and computing power, especially for the things that we will be talking, and we have been talking on speed, computing power, how deep quantum computer brings, how the depth that it brings. So the moment that is speeding and more capable, it revolutionizes the way it does it. So build on the columns of privacy, protection, data security, and etc. But it revolutionizes the way it's been done.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Today's quantum computers exist, but today's versions will increase their speed and their computing power over the next years. How innovative will the evolution of quantum mechanics and quantum physics become in the next decade?
Okay, in the next decade. Thanks for the question, because some authors talk about 3 years. Some people say 10 years, 15 years, we'll see. But what I can assure you is that quantum computing as it exists today didn't exist 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Right now, we are in the unit of power that quantum computing is about is the qubit, okay? And we are roughly around 2,000 qubits. Some people say we are in 5,000 qubits. Some people say that we are in 100 qubits. But in any case, what I know for sure is that we started with 1, and then 2, and then 5, and then 10, and 100, and 500, meaning technology and history has proved that with the right investment, with the right approach, with the right questions and the right answers, with the right effort, with the right money, yes, we will be progressing. And your question was very pointed, Sophie. In 10 years, we will certainly see a massive disruption with quantum computing called universal quantum computing. We are not there yet. Mm-hmm. So today, March or almost April 23, we are not there yet. We are in analog quantum and quantum annealer. But the moment that in 10 years, for sure, we will get into universal quantum, that would be truly a disruption. And I'm pretty sure that you will ask me later about what the why of that. But certainly when we get to 10,000 qubits, 10,000, we are not there yet. But mm-hmm. when we get there, that will be truly a disruptive. And 10 years, 10 years is a lot of time. Because people will keep investing and putting the effort, the money, the people, the knowledge. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
Talking about those 10 years, can you elaborate on a world in which 3 or 5 new quantum computing implementations would be able to totally reshape the world? Would we fly faster, differently? Would we be able to use different power sources to fuel trucks and space rockets?
Well, to some of your examples, I have to say maybe. To others, I will say no. But what I can assure you is that we will be able, and right now, today, we are able to do things with quantum computing with the, let me use the word, with the babies quantum computers that we have, because they're babies, but with the babies that we have been able, and we are able right now in the present tense, we are able to solve things that will take hundreds, if not thousands of years to regular machines. Even the fastest computers on the planet, even the most capable computers on the planet, some problems will take thousands of years to solve. And boom, quantum computers of today, the babies of quantum computers of today, can solve it in a matter of seconds, if not minutes. So, yes, we are on the right track. They have to be deployed for solving one or two main problems. They are not universal achievers in terms of solving everything. I mean, they are not, because that's called magic. And we are not talking magic here today. We're talking science, right? But to your question, in 3, 5, 7, 10 years, yes, we will be able to hopefully, solve cancer. Who knows? Hopefully, of course, or finding new materials on Earth. I mean, a new aluminum or a new material to build rocket ships. So, to your question, yes, to some of your things, maybe to some of the others, there are no's because some of the things are science fiction. But certainly, quantum computing will shape or will give shape to the things that we need to do as society. Yeah.
Okay. We gaan er heel even uit. We zijn zo terug met Ramsés Gallego met meer over quantum computing.
Business AM. Radio Special Cybersecurity.
We zijn terug met Ramsés Gallego, International CTO bij OpenText. En we hebben het nog altijd over cybersecurity. Meer bepaald over de impact van quantum computing aan de vooravond van die baanbrekende technologie.
Well, there's the need of protecting the consequence of having quantum computers. So not protecting them themselves, but actually protecting the consequence of not behaving properly, Sophie. Let me explain. If when the world will have a quantum computer capable of breaking encryption, let me say it again, breaking encryption, yes, breaking secret, any. All of the encryptions that we, the industry use today, and again, I don't want to be very technical, but for the audience information, there's RSA encryption, Diffie-Hellman encryption, elliptic curve encryption, which are technical things, but any of them will be broken when we, the world, will have a quantum computers, in plural, with around 10,000 qubits. So the question is not if we protect the infrastructure, which they have to be protected as we protect today data centers and nuclear power plants and windmill farms. Yes to that. But we need to protect data and we need to protect people. So the question is not how we protect the computers, but how we protect data that allegedly and potentially will be able to be in the clear. It will be able to be, no secrets. That's what I'm talking about. A world with no secrets, with no barriers. So the question, Sophia, I think that what is the world doing on protecting data that in 3, 5, 7, 10, 12 years will be able to be in the clear for nations to be used, for cyber criminals to be used again. So I think that's the real question and the real core of protection and data protection that we should be talking about. Yeah.
Your own company helps companies to secure, govern and exchange information on a global scale. Is your company ready for battle to protect companies from quantum computing information being hacked or misused?
Well, that's a good question and a tough question because, the investments for quantum computing are massive. So with all due respect for my company, which is OpenText Cybersecurity, say no to that because we are still, while we envision, and I'm super proud and happy of representing my company and the different associations I'm representing, like ASACA or the Quantum World Association, but your question was, is my company or any other company that is about on cybersecurity today and data protection and identity and access management and access control ready? I'm sorry, but the answer is no. Why? Because it's so edgy. Quantum computing, as I said before, is built on the laws of quantum mechanics and quantum physics. And guess what? While it's good to have technicians and people that know computer science and people, I mean, we also need to empower mathematicians and physicists, people that know about physics, and sometimes, believe it or not, even astronomy. Why? Because we're talking about light. So quantum computing is that branch of science and technology, that is so edgy that requires different disciplines built into what we know today as technology. I mean, this is another type of server. This is another type of discipline, another type of network, another type of CPU, even the processor unit that is within a quantum computer. Again, remember, it's photons of light and light going back and forth. It's another game, I would say. So,
Can you elaborate on the real threat that quantum computing may impose when not used in such a way that it benefits humanity?
Absolutely, Sophie, my pleasure. And I want to be so specific that when the world will have 10,000 qubits, we will be able to break encryption. That's it. And by breaking encryption is breaking any type of secret. Because we will be able to, the world will be able to use what I love everybody to know, that it already exists. So there's an algorithm that exists that it's called the Shor's algorithm, Shor, S-H-O-R, that it's from 1997, if I recall correctly, or 1994. So Shor, a scientist, already coined or drafted an algorithm to solve something that in maths it's considered an NP problem, a super complex problem. An NP problem, factorizing large numbers. When you can factorize large prime numbers, you can break any encryption. Can we do that today? No worries, that's not a problem today. But the moment when we have a super capable machine, super powerful machine, namely a quantum computer with more or around of 10,000 qubits, there will be enough power to run Shor's algorithm effectively and efficiently.
And should we panic?
One truly, excuse me?
Should we panic that in a few years' time secure nuclear codes will be available to criminals?
I wouldn't say panic. I don't like the verb. So panic is never an option. You know, I mean, panicking is not good. But starting the conversation, Sophie, that's the real game. I mean, starting the conversation, embracing change. I mean, the people that are listening or viewing us today, banks, hospital, healthcare, public, government, the people that will be hopefully hearing and attending the keynote in Brussels, you know, on April. I mean, it is fundamental that we start the conversation. Panicking, I wouldn't say that, but taking care of something that would be about disclosing nuclear code or disclosing, you know, defense strategies in a world that, let me remind everyone that we are at war. I mean, the world is in difficult times. So a world with no secrets, where everything could be in the clear, not now, but in 3, 5, 7, 10 years, I think that starting the conversation, it's a must. That's what I'd say, yeah.
And what is the benefit of the Google quantum computer, the D-Wave? It wants to build a useful one by 2029. Is Google ahead?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Google or IBM or any other that is building a quantum computer, but truth to be told, from a commercial perspective, Google and IBM are taking the lead. There are other companies that are doing great things. We in Southern Europe, we are starting with a 1 qubit or 5 qubit, but certainly they are taking the lead. Even from a commercial perspective, they have a viable and commercial offer and proposal that you can actually buy a quantum computer, for the record. But the benefit to your question of Google's D-Wave, that's the department of Google's D-Wave quantum computer, again, speed and computing power. They have been working on this for years now, so they are taking the lead, and they are right now capable of doing something that I tend to dislike the word, but it's quantum supremacy. You know, I mean, they can do things that they were not able to do. I mean, 3, 5, 7 years ago. And I think that while that's super interesting, it's also scary because the capabilities and the power of that infrastructure is second to none, Sophie, second to none.
And what are the effects of quantum computing on, let's say, the medical world, solving diseases and stuff?
Absolutely. And I just mentioned it before, but let me open that door now that you're asking. So for healthcare, I mean, the way that when pharmaceutical companies, they need to test things on, and some of them, the aspirin or ibuprofen and all of those medical treatments, you have to test it on humans and then test it first on animals, humans, etc. Some of the medical treatments take 15 years of testing, 30 years before you can release it. So with enough computing power, with enough speed, you can shorten those cycles. You can do simulations in a fast, better way, and the impact on society that you cannot do even with the fastest computer on the planet. But you're asking me for healthcare. The same goes for mining the earth, for finding new sources of oil, energy, whatever. But also for government, or also for smart cities, or the world of the industries of software, let's say. The way we can speed up and re-evolutionize, going back to my word, re-evolutionize all those dimensions are truly important. But certainly healthcare, talking about society and talking about people and diseases, certainly healthcare will benefit and is benefiting right now. And also the finance industry, by the way, the banking and insurance and companies are already today benefiting from quantum computing. Yes.
Who has the current lead in the creation of quantum transistors? What is the benefit of such a transistor?
Well, Google and IBM are the lead, take the lead from a commercial, let's say, private point of view. But now that you're asking, Sophie, if I may, to open the door also for nations, because of course there are commercial viable proposals. Again, Google, IBM, but there's also Rigetti, and there are other companies. But the question should be also, in a world of geopolitics, in a world of world dominance, I would say, what are nations doing? The question should be the US, of course, as one of the major countries in the world, but also Australia. We should also ask about China, or maybe what my friends in Austria, in Europe are doing. So the question isn't only from a commercial point of view, and again, my answer is Google and IBM and Google, if you will, but also nations should be taking into account in this massive world game. And again, the opening the door, if I may, Sophie, into geopolitics and geo-interest, and in a world with no secret. Remember that we're talking about knowing everything in the clear. If I'm a nation and a powerful nation, I would be very interested in such a technology, right?
Yeah, right. Will such a nation, in theory, be able to rule the world then, when it has
rule the world? Wow, that's another tough question. Probably not rule the world, but having an advantage to rule the world, certainly. Let me do a comparison, if I may, Sophie, with nuclear power. There are only 6 nations in the world, 6 and only 6, that they have the atomic bomb, and the rest of the world, you are forbidden to do that. You cannot do that because there are rules, there are protocols. We, the world, we agreed because we have to be careful, with nuclear power, right? So it's not that different. And some analysts and some authors are seeing it that way, that we have to rule this and we have to put some processes and regulations into that, because I'm talking about world dominance, yes, probably not ruling the world, but certainly having an advantage, because you will know that nation will be able to know things that the others won't. And that's certainly kind of supremacy in a way.
Ga niet weg, hè? We zijn zo terug met Ramsés Gallego met meer over quantum computing en cybersecurity.
Business AM.
Radio Special Cybersecurity.
Welkom opnieuw. U kijkt of luistert nog steeds naar Business AM, naar deze special over cybersecurity. En wel met Ramsés Gallego, International Chief Technology Officer bij OpenText. I can imagine that quantum computing business will require a whole new level of cybersecurity. A whole new strategy is needed, I presume. Can encryption still save us?
Unfortunately, thank you, Sophie, for the question. Encryption as we know it today, I'm so sorry to say a big no. A big no. All of the encryption methodologies that we use today, which are, let me call them pre-quantum encryption, will be useless in years from now, 3, 5, 7, 10, 12. So I'm sorry to say a big no. But actually your question was very pointed and very good, because, I think that the answer is within the question, meaning it requires a different conversation. It requires a different type of encryption. It requires a different type of knowledge and approach. Actually, to the point, and I'm pretty sure that we will be covering later, but there's already a proposal from the NIST on post-quantum encryption, and that's good. So that's good. So there's already on paper, some proposals in order to solve that problem. But again, we need to agree. We meaning the world. The world needs to agree in the very same way that we agree on 4G and 5G technologies and the Wi-Fi. And this conversation is being able, to be run remotely, and you can send me an email from your browser or so in the very same way that we agree in a protocol, let's say for technology, we need to agree on a post-quantum encryption. And while the proposals are there, the agreement is not. So it requires, to your question, so yes, it requires a different approach, a different strategy, different tactics. And by the way, I am, and I will mention that on my keynote in Brussels. So strategy and tactics are different things. Strategy in the long term, but tactics in a short term. So the way you approach it like a strategic and tactical game. But encryption, as we know it today, and that was your question, by the way, no. It will not solve the problem. Well, actually, encryption today is the problem, but again, that's not a problem for today, not for next week, not for next month, but the conversation should be starting today, tomorrow, and next month in order to understand what's at stake. Yes.
Okay. Last year, the NIST announced the first group of winners from its 6-year competition.
Yep.
These people are striving to protect companies and society against quantum computing misuse. They designed the first 4 quantum-resistant cryptographic algorithms designed to withstand the assault of a future quantum computer, which could potentially crack the security used to protect privacy in a digital system we rely on every day, such as online banking and email software. Is there a breath of relief that there is a solution in the making?
Oh, well, so yes to your question. So there's a relief that someone is thinking out of the box and trying to solve the mysteries and the problems of a post-quantum era, a post-quantum epoch. So yes to your question of there's relief. I know that the NIST and other people are already talking about that. So I'm positive on that side of the question. But unfortunately, and here comes the second part of my answer, I am not that positive, and I'm kind of sad because I have been myself on different meetings of the ITU, the Union of Telecommunications Companies of the World. It's called the United Nations of Telecommunication. By the way, super cool engagement. Different nations talking about that is super nice. But unfortunately, the group, that United Nations of Telecommunications, didn't agree on that post-quantum technology and post-quantum protocols in order to protect from a potential quantum attack. So while, Sophia, I'm positive that someone is thriving in order to nurture and protect society, unfortunately, that society, because of different interests and again, geopolitics and etc., is not very much interested. And I have been a witness of that on solving that problem. Again, why? Because we're talking about a world of different velocities, a world of different, waves and speeds, the first speed world and the second and the third. And that's terrible. And it's a tragedy in a way, Sophie. Yeah.
You talk about geopolitics. Every country has its own modus operandi. How are we going to exchange the information on a safe level?
Well, that's another part of the problem, in the equation. While it is in a research lab, what they are doing in Vienna, in Austria, is great. What we are doing here in Barcelona, Spain, the university, and there are fantastic investments. And while it's a research thing, I think that the network of different universities and research labs, they exchange information because they are in discovery mode. But when it goes from discovery mode into execution world, into actually breaking secrets, I think that the agreement is not there. Again, geopolitics, dominance, business operation. Can you imagine a company, not a nation that it's terrible, but a company that can guess and know everything that they want to know? You company, the CEO of the company, you be interested. So when humans chime in, when we humans understand that this is clear and a massive advantage like nuclear power. I mean, that's not that easy to understand. So yes, we exchange information, to your question, when it's in research, when it's in discovery mode, when it's in testing, when it's in its infancy, as I was saying later, when it's a baby, when it's becoming an adult, and it can really be used in big time. Wow, we are not that shareable anymore.
Europe now is behind on US and China. China invested 10 billion in one lab already. Do we have a problem in Europe?
Come again, please, because I lost you for a couple of seconds. So
well,
something about Europe, but can you come again?
Yeah, Europe is behind on the US and China at this moment. China invested already 10 billion on only one lab. Do we have a problem in Europe?
Well, we do. And we do because, and I say with all due respect, as a European, as a citizen, don't get me wrong, I love it, but Europe is the old Europe, if I may say. Again, I say with respect, but the old Europe is made out of different countries and different velocities of countries and different sizes and different interests, right? While others, for instance, and the political regime is different. I'm not any, but we have to agree. And we, the old Europe, have to make a consensus on when we how much Spain takes, or how much Belgium takes, or how much Germany and France and Italy and Portugal and Others don't. And that's, with all due respect, that's great for one perspective, but it's a problem because we have to agree, and then again there's investment. So Europe has a problem. Other continents, with all due respect for Africa or Latin America, I mean, they have a bigger problem, I guess, because their investment is not any good in quantum computing. At least Europe saw it. Actually, there's a quantum manifesto from 2016. So 7 years ago, actually less than 7 years, May 2016, we, Europe, agreed to invest something, to start exploring, and that's good. But that's not enough in order to compete with the big names, either in the industry, I mentioned the two companies that are leading, or nations. So to your question, Sophie, I think that in Europe, we should be a little bit worried. So yes.
Okay, quantum computers are now available. They cost only 50 million euros and are capable of solving one or many problems, as you mentioned before, at the same time. It's very tempting to buy one, isn't it?
Well, if I would have 15 million euros, I would certainly buy one. But for the record, they have a price tag because there are companies that have already acquired some computers. So for the record and everybody, for the understanding of everyone, they exist, they can be bought, and they can be deployed. But let me tell you a couple of things. Give me 1 minute for a longer answer, because I think that's super important, Sophie. First, I honestly think that not everybody will have a quantum computer. So companies, governments of the world, so no. Not because of the price tag, 50 million euros is a lot of money, but because there are other things that are difficult in order to deploy a quantum computer. But I do envision that every company in the world and every major company, and government of the world will use quantum computing. So, mark my words, there is an era of quantum computing as a service. So someone, the big names in the industry, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and the rest of the guys, will have quantum computers on their data centers in a very critical environment, super, dedicated, super secure, going back to your question before, that they are secured and safe. And we, the world, we will use that infrastructure, so quantum computing as a service. So, of course, there's time to buy one, but even if you don't want to buy one, for the record, and the audience will love this, Sophie, and I'm finishing in 30 seconds. Actually, the babies of quantum computer, especially with the one from IBM, they can be used for free right now. The baby, the one with 4 or 5 qubits. So it's nothing. But if someone wants to explore and wants to interact and wants to challenge, a quantum computer for free, this can happen now, right now. So again, a baby quantum computer. So that's my answer.
So you can outsmart your competitor by secretly investing in a quantum computer and solve problems much faster?
Well, yes, not in the long run. So my answer is yes, in the long run. Again, it's a competitive advantage. In the very same way that cybersecurity at large, and that's my line of work, cybersecurity, if you do it rightly, it's a competitive advantage. If you would have access to a quantum computer, either from a research perspective, or if you're a bank I mean, there are massive, a number of banks around the planet, the Bank of Austria, actually in Spain, there are some companies that are banks and finance companies that are investing on doing Monte Carlo simulations, on doing risk avoidance in a better way from a portfolio perspective, from asset management perspective, portfolio perspective. You mentioned before healthcare. Not many companies on healthcare and pharma are investing, but the moment that they do, that brings a competitive advantage, a gigantic quantum leap, Sophie. So yes, I mean, you can outsmart your competition. That was your question, yes.
We zijn nog lang niet uitgepraat en zijn zo terug met deel 4 van het gesprek met Ramsés Gallego over quantum computing.
Business AM.
Radio Special Cybersecurity.
Welkom terug hier bij Business AM en we zijn toe aan het laatste deel van de special over cybersecurity. Meer bepaald over de opkomst van quantum computing met Ramsés Gallego, internationaal CTO bij OpenText. So once more, Mr. Gallego, competition between companies might become the driver to expand this technology. Let's talk more about the ethical side of quantum computing. Does the technology impose a problem?
Well, in a way, Sophie, yes. I appreciate the question because we at the Quantum World Association, we have an ethical group or an ethical task force on how, not just quantum, but certainly how it should be, it can be used in an ethical way, how data collection and how correlation of information, different sources of the truth can be combined, in a good ethical way. So I think it's fundamental that we understand legislation, regulations, an ethical approach. But again, not just with quantum, which I understand is the topic today, but actually the way we do it with machine learning and artificial intelligence and data collection and data classification and profiling people. Truth to be told, quantum computer will expand and amplify the opportunities and again, speed and computing power, but the ethical approach should be instrumental for success and again, as a competitive advantage. Not just with quantum, but with other technology. But yes, with quantum, even more, should I say? Yes.
Mm-hmm. And if I can quote you, you say the contrary of security is not insecurity, but complacency. What do you mean by that?
But I love that quote, and I know it's mine. But I usually start some of my keynotes with that because I mean that's minute zero. Because the contrary of security is not the lack of security, but thinking that we are not a target, Sophie. Thinking that who's interested on my data, who's interested on my credit card information, and I'm not talking only as individuals that we should, as parents, as family, as no. I'm also talking about as countries, as companies. I mean, even a small company has information that is useful and interesting for every one of them. Even a small company, I'm not talking about the large firms, but I'm talking about even a small company has a supply chain, customer records, finance information, intellectual property that can be useful and stolen. So complacency, thinking that I am not a target, who's interested on my data, being, with all due respect, blind to what is happening every single day. As you, as journalists, you know even better than me. I mean, it's in the news every single day. In one corner of the world, a ransomware attack, a phishing attack, another try to steal information. Again, quantum computing and quantum attacks, the moment that they break and they will be able to break secret, can you imagine that, a world in the clear? So complacency is one of the worst things that may have. The false sense of security, Sophie. The false sense that thinking, oh, I'm okay. I already have this and this and this. Nobody's interested in me. I'm here sitting in Barcelona, Spain. Who's interested in me? They are. Cyber criminals are interested in your data, Ramsés. So yes to that.
Another quote from you: quantum computing will challenge things that we take for granted, that we see as sacred. Should we not change so fast then?
Well, we should change because, as I said before, the 3 V's of change and the velocity, variety, and volume change. I mean, it is inevitable. I mean, even if we don't want it, the things that have happened are happening in the present continuous right now in the news, Chat GPT and artificial. I mean, they will happen whether we like it or not, whether we want to embrace artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, social identity, and quantum computing, and all of those things, those disruptive things that are happening. If you don't want to embrace them, they will happen in any way. So I wouldn't say yes to your question in terms of we shouldn't change so fast, but we should start the conversation, ask the right questions to the right people at the right time, be humble, but also questioning, the status quo of something. I mean, if my IT auditors come with a plan, or my IT people come with a plan, or my technology provider, my cloud provider comes with an infrastructure, I should start asking the right questions. That's being professional, questioning how good is that, how robust is that, how secure is that, how compliant is that, and that's the game, I think. And I know it's a never-ending game, but that's the game we are in. That's the society that we are living in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that a big revelation? Not the technology in itself, but that it irreversibly changes thousands of years of modern human practices and centuries of gold standards in a couple of decades?
Absolutely. I mean, culture plays a strong role in cybersecurity. Let me start my answer with that. So yes, it challenges our perception of the world. Actually, when I develop my section on quantum computing, talks about how we perceive the world. Listen, perceive, how we understand the world. Because when we talk about light, and when we talk about what is called superposition, I love it. It's one of the unique things in quantum mechanics and quantum physics, that is a photon of light. And this has been proved in real life. I mean, I'm not joking. I mean, it can be in two different states, two different places at the same time. Let me say it again. Two different places, the same photon of light at the same time. We humans, even from a religious perspective, with all due respect, I mean, we tend to think that's not possible. That's impossible. That's for movies. Well, guess what? It has already happened. And we tend to understand different things as we humans want to. Our brain is capable to understand, right? So the way we perceive the world is fundamental, and certainly quantum computing challenges that. And your question was very, very pointed on. Yes, it challenges decades, hundreds of thousands of years of belief, but it is what it is. It has been proved, and it's here. It's here in the middle long run. Again, it's not something for tomorrow. It's not something for next month, but certainly it is not something, Sophie, for in 100 years' time, in 50 years' time, in 30 years' time. On the contrary, it's in 30 months' time or 50 months' time. So that's the question. Yeah, it changes our society as we understand it, yes.
Do you suggest that humanity needs a transition phase, a 25-year era, in which humanity allows itself to adapt to these revolutionary breakthroughs?
That's a good question. And if I may, I would answer with another one of my quotes. This is not an epoch of changes, but the change of an epoch. Not an era of changes, Sophie, but the change of an era. So actually your question is, should we start in a transition? I mean, my answer is, aren't we ready in transition mode? Aren't we ready into mobility and digitalization and platforms and cloud? And aren't we already in transition? So yes, to your question, that is about, and I will use the present continuous tense in English, is we are transitioning. We are transitioning, yes. I mean, now it's ChatGPT, and the next big thing will be machine learning, and then ethics, and then blockchain, and then social identity, and then social federation and cryptocurrency. Oh boy. I mean, society, if we don't do it rightly, we will say in the future, we didn't see that coming. We didn't see that wave coming. So yes to your question, Sophie, absolutely.
What are the areas that need to be acted upon now to make quantum computing safe, useful, and servable for businesses as well as society?
Okay, good question. Post-quantum cryptography, starting and investing, challenging how we use encryption today, and then being interested in the needs that you mentioned before. I mean, those algorithms, engaging with young professionals that are right out of the university, when they are going through the doors of the university, in their 20s. Okay, those are the young professionals that will solve the problem. And certainly we veterans, I think that we will be able to help. But young professionals embrace, challenge the status quo, understand, read white papers, and remember, not only in the IT world, information technology, also in the business world, and I know that I'm talking about Business AM today, and it's a pleasure to be talking with you, but also physics and also mathematicians and math. So all of them together in order to solve something that is super, super, super fast in terms of change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In what way does quantum computing deserve your blessing, Mr. Gallego?
I love it. I love it. I saw it years ago when I was invited to becoming to the executive vice president of the Quantum World Association. As I have written white papers and I have been on stages of the world, and I will be blessed to be in Brussels, in the 20th of April, with another session, quick session on 20 minutes only, unfortunately, on quantum computing. But yes, I love it because it's built on things that we hardly understand, but they exist. So it challenges, you mentioned it before, hundreds, if not thousands of years of understanding of the world. So I think we the world, we humans, we deserve to understand that. We deserve to embrace that, not only from a digital perspective, but if you allow me to say so, Sophie, even from a philosophical perspective. When you become the quantum observer, you change the transaction itself. So there's a word in quantum that it says when you become the quantum observer, which actually is a little bit philosophical, if I may, but when you become part of the problem or the solution, but you're part of the equation. I mean, in this interview that we are having, you and I mean, we are interacting, we both are part of the conversation and the rest of the people seeing it and the way we are changing minds. So becoming the quantum observer, I mean, it has my blessing because I love it. I think it's real. So it's not something that, I mean, it does not come from a television, it does not come from a science fiction, a Star Wars sort of movie. On the contrary, they exist. There are massive investments, Sophie, massive billions of investments of quantum computing. So this is not a trendy thing. So it's a real thing. So it does has my blessing because I love it. It's real, and it certainly will challenge and change societies at large.
Let's hope for the best and brace for the worst. Thank you very much for having had this conversation with me, Mr. Ramsés Gallego, International Chief Technology Officer at OpenText Cybersecurity.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Business AM.
Radio Special Cybersecurity.